Hi everyone, I am just doing a muck around. Hello, how are you all? I'm Mary Howe, your Kazaz consultant. I'm in Darwin, Northern Territory. Well, actually, I'm in Palmerston, Northern Territory. Um, I started these Zoom classes a couple of months ago, just so that people could stay connected through these really unusual times. Now, whilst my Zoom classes really aren't just for people who are doing Kazaz, I wanted them to be so that regardless of what kind of craft materials you have, you can join in. And I, I just, it was more for the interaction, because we're socially distanced from people, although I personally say physical distance when it's talking about, you need to be your 1.5 meters away from the next person and that sort of thing, rather than social distancing. I think that has, it's created this sense that we can't be socially together. And I purely speak for obviously the territory that I'm in. We have not had any community spread here. In fact, we've only had 29 cases. You all need to adhere to whatever your local state law is saying. But I think we need to stay socially connected but physically distanced. And so I choose to use the word physical distancing. My classes here in Darwin have just started back up again. We're obviously having to practice the 1.5 metres. Hand hygiene is very important. And of course, if you're not well, stay at home. Anyway, I just thought I would jump on and just share what these Zoom classes are about. Like I said, it's not about trying to sell you something, or yes, I am a consultant with Kazaz. It's about connecting and keeping those connections from all over the place. We don't necessarily have to be in the same towns. And I think when you can see somebody's face, it makes a big difference to then just talking to them over the phone or chatting to them online. It makes it personal. So that's what these Zoom classes are about. They're going to be fortnightly. From the beginning of July, they will be fortnightly. And you'll be able to log into them through my Facebook page, Crafty Fun with Mary's Kazaz. And there will be a little link in there that you can join in from. So I was doing them on the free version. I've just paid for a subscription. The free version chucks you out every 40 minutes. And, it is doable, but it's a little bit annoying. So anyway, I've done that. So let's, let's all get together. Now, what I have been doing, I do have two cameras. The one that you're seeing me on now is the camera I'm using through my laptop, and I will just put us into the overhead, which is my webcam. Hello. So these are the sorts of things that we've been making. We made this one today. It's called a tricorn fold card. I guess because it's got the three corners on it. Now you can either do it in this is the landscape version, and it just sits down on these back pillars here, so it looks sort of like it's on an easel. This was my prototype one that I made, and it's in the portrait side, and it stands up like that. That's the top view that you can see there. That's the back views on both of them. Very, very easy to make. Very easy to make. You don't necessarily need to have this piece on here. I did that because I was using some fine die cuts, but I think it looks great. I think it adds into it. And the beauty about these is, voila, folds flat. And let me get an envelope to show you. It fits in a standard size envelope. And if you don't add too much, and that just fits there with that size as well. If you don't add too many embellishments, that will post for standard letter posting here in Australia, of course, which at the moment I think is $1.10. So that's a standard envelope. and then you just it just pops back out and you can stand it back up. So that's what we made this week. The last week we did a what we call a faux book easel card. So it just sits on it's got like a little stopper, and that just sits there on that stopper, and it kind of it's to look like a book. So you can just sort of see that those layers have been made like that. It sits flat, but it does of course have width to it. So that's obviously something you're not going to be able to post on a standard letter. But we didn't make this in the class, but I made this later. So this is just a normal envelope made with the envelope punch board, and I've just added some depth into that, and then that just sits down and slides into there. Oops, slides into there. And then I do a little closure that sort of holds all that flat as well. Now, obviously, that's not going to post by itself, and I personally wouldn't even post that like it is. I think that's still not sturdy enough to go through the postal system. I would probably still stick that through, one of those tough bags or something like that. So they're the sort of things that we've been making. They're a lot of fun. They take up to, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, sometimes two. Not very often they take 2 hours. And like I said, that you will get a supply list. It's not going to give you specifics of brands. What I'd like is for people to use what they've got in their stash. And that's what it's all about, joining together like we're all there in the same living room together. Anyway, thank you all for joining me.